Hey, we're back, week 2 of Shudder, September 2025, and it's, week 2, week 3, I can't even remember, but it's a week, and it's back, and this is a really good, movie. I really like this movie. It's in violent nature. I've called it, in many places, the best Friday 13th movie, and I'll stand by that. And I've talked about this before on the channel, like Late Night with the Devil, but this movie, what I really love about it is it takes time to just stop. I think lots of horror movies think that they need to be constant movement, and sometimes they do, but other times I like movies like this where I know it's been criticised because it's slow, but I think things like the killer walking through the forest, like we know what he's walking towards. We know what's going to happen, and you don't need lots of fanfare. Sometimes it's just a slow and steady walk. And when he gets to where he needs to get to, it's just so brilliantly cinematic. I think it's definitely something horror movies don't really have the ability to do anymore. I think something like Late Night with Devil 2, where it's just take your time. This whole Harvey Weinstein thing that he popularized moves like Scream, where it's like, oh, you gotta have like a violent death every 10 minutes. No, you don't necessarily need that. You just need the tension, you know? The whole point of it is when something like that happens, when big set piece happens, you need to reset and then build up again. And I think that's what best horror movies do. And I think, for my money, this is up there. And I think it's also something, one of those examples of movies that Shudder getting is it's so awesome about. Because this is not a mainstream movie. Despite the fact that it kind of went in mainstream a little bit, it's not. This is a very art house movie to the extent where it's gotten reviews from people who I actually am friends with, which I feel may be a bit too critical. But I understand where it's coming from because it is very. I think this is a definition for repeat watch movie because there's so much layer and depth to it that you don't normally suspect from this sort of movie. And it definitely does have that feel of something like a Malik, where it's like it's the vibe rather than necessarily the plot. And this movie, it feels like we're stumbling in, because most of it's from the killer's perspective. Obviously, we get bits and pieces of that story. We don't get the whole thing. Now, granted, the movie doesn't recommit to that completely because there's a few times when it'll have, like the campfire bit, where it doesn't give us everything. It holds back on a lot, but it does feel a bit less of a POV or perspective. But I mean, you have to understand that it's difficult to necessarily commit to like the bit entirely. I personally probably would have loved this movie even more if it had, but I get the young actors, they want their stuff, they want their moments. And I think, yeah, from that regard, yeah, I definitely see the critique, but I think it still works brilliantly because they give us as little as they possibly can. We learn bits and drabs about the characters, about backstory, about Ranger, about things which happened, but one, we don't get flashbacks, which is amazing, which is such a great way to sort of skirt convention, and two, we only get enough the movie to work. We don't get like we get kind of an info dump from Ranger, but not really, because it's still really vague. And in some ways, it definitely feels like a movie we never saw was made. Like, there's a movie called A Violent Nature, set during that early period, and we never got that movie. And this is almost a sequel to something which never made, which I still think is one of the coolest ideas ever. But I think my favourite part of this movie is the fact that it goes over the top. Like, the deaths are just disgusting, and it's really, it kind of postulates that theory that Michael and Jason were super intelligent in terms of sort of like, and creative, but also somewhat childlike. Because this guy's, the death sequences in this movie are gross, but also really creatively over the top. So yeah, I love this movie. I think it's really good. And I also think it has one of the best endings of horror movie I've seen in ages, because the tension is what you think's going to happen doesn't happen. They subvert expectations by, just having the most mundane ending humanly imaginable to horror movie. But it works. I think that's the thing about this movie, it just works. Now, my have other complaints. One is that there's a Blu-ray version of this movie. It's available in the UK, which has no special features on it, which is really fucking annoying. In fact, that's one of my Shudder as a whole. I wish they'd have more special features on their app. Also, I should say that it's my VPN which was screwing up Shudder on this thing, so I do have to apologise to Shudder for being so critical of their app in my Toxic Avenger review, but to be fair, VPN shouldn't change that, so I was using a UK address, and I'm a UK resident, so it's dumb. Yeah, I mean, more space features, and also, I don't know if I want a sequel to this. I feel like you could do one, but this movie feels unique, and I don't really think you should mess with that. Anyway, yeah, really, really good movie. Much better than that trash I watched last week, except for Late Night with Devil. So I'd go for 4 out of 5 for this. I still think holds up. Not as good as the first time I saw it in cinemas, but it's very enjoyable. So, what's tomorrow? I think it's a One Ball Knife. Oh, okay. That's more like it. And when I say that's more like it, I mean this is sort of stuff that we want in September when we're going to review Shudder movies. We want new stuff, newish stuff. This came out years and years and years ago, but we want stuff like this. We want stuff like Deadstream 2022, Shudder exclusive, and a really goddamn good movie. Oh my god. So, for context, I made a movie this year called Red Herring's Found Footage Nightmare. And I just want to go on record saying I have not seen this movie prior to today. And I'm recording this on the 11th of September. And yeah, this is the movie I wanted to make with Red Herring's Found Footage Nightmare. And it's a movie I didn't make for that one. Because look, this is a great fucking movie. It's genuinely, and what I love most about it is it starts and it feels like, oh, it's goofing. It's like the usual sort of movies you get in this nature, sort of stuff I would make, where it's very low budget. It's really not aiming for much. It's got that Nigel Bad Ben aesthetic to it, and it's sort of like it can be good experiences. They could be a good laugh, but this goes beyond that. This is like the Evil Dead of Paranormal Activity style movies, because it starts in sort of a mundane way, but then amps up, and by the end, it's proper fucking batshit insane. And I ain't talking like a WNUF Ghostwatch vibe, which they're both terrific movies in their own right, but this one's like, firstly, this has a budget. It has a sneaky budget, but secondly, it has a very, very, very good script. Genuinely good script. Like, I'm serious, like, it's literally rock solid, and it goes to some messed up places, and it ends with a just cracker. Just a brilliant series of just bizarre, nightmarish shit. Done as well as you can possibly do, with comments. My Red Herring Found Footage Nightmare, my movie about a guy who streams and all goes wrong, they didn't have comments. They didn't have comments in that. This has comments, so it feels a bit more unique and out. But it's just so great because it takes everything you expect from live stream, video, webcast sort of horror movies and just dumps on its head, because it is really insane, and it has two parts which I really love. The first part is when Chris is introduced into moving. I didn't know this was a two-hander. I assumed it'd be more like my one, where it's like a one-man show, or one-person show even. But when Chris shows up, I'm guessing Melanie Stone, she is fucking fantastic. Just a great character, and it really gets moving high gear, because I think these movies do struggle, and I'd put them safe in that regard. The one-man show thing is difficult to do because you don't have anyone play off. Playing off people is part of what makes movies great, especially sort of hangout sort of vibe movies I really enjoy. So she shows up, they really get to play off each other. But then when they do the second reversal, it was a genuine, like, oh shit moment for me. And it should have been, because obviously the story was going to go there were lots of clues. It's like I said, there's really good scripts, there's lots of foreshadowing going on. But it's still a moment where it hits me and I was like, oh Jesus Christ, god damn. And then the movie just continues to get more and more insane. And this is someone who has a bit of a budget to do stuff, but also the two, it's directed by Joseph Winter and Vanessa Winter. I think they really just had great grasp of what they want to do, how they want to do it, and also of making something which had the aesthetic stuff like Evil Dead 2, because the longer it goes on, the more... It's not comedy, but it's so over the top and mad that you will laugh a lot there. Laugh with it, I suppose, not at it. And yeah, no, I loved it. It's really, really good. It does annoy me a little because I spent my entire movie-making life from Bubba Batch onwards trying to make something like Evil Dead 2, and these guys go and they do it, and they just fucking nail it. But that's what I love. I love horror movies. I love enjoying horror movies, seeing something and being like, God damn. And people have been recommending this one to me for years. And for some reason, I was never, like, really up for watching it. But, man, this is a good-ass movie. And I love violent nature, but I love stuff like this, where you're watching, like, Jesus Christ, comes out of nowhere. Despite the fact this has been recommended to me for years and years and years. But I'm someone who's diametrically opposed to actually watching stuff at the peak of their existence. No, I fucking love this movie, and it's really, really good. And I really want to rewatch it at some point. And I want to discuss it. So yeah, it's on my list to do both of those. And at some point I'm sure I'll do a more in-depth one to it. But all I'll say for now is, if you like this movie, why not give Red Herring Found Footage Nightmare a try? It's free. It's not as good, but it's there. And hey, Shudder, if you're looking for movies like this, my movie's out there. I'll put on the channel. I like money. Okay, bye. So I have to admit, this is one I've actually gone a little bit out of my way to not watch. Obvious, the sole reason that this movie came out the same year as my first movie, Bubba Batch, and got all the press that my movie did not get. And I have to admit, I was a little bit annoyed, a little bit pissed off that, like, this one managed to get all of the press regarding, hey, it's a low-budget horror made during pandemic. And over here, I was sort of like, well, I made mine between shifts and frontline and medical stuff from a movie for a significant fraction less than this, and with less finance and with less everything. And I still did it. But you know what? I finally thought for Shudder September 2025, I'll cover this movie and I'll be unbiased. And I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it with a few caveats. One, first I want to say this is very well made, and F1 involved did a really good job, and it's a very effective horror movie with some generally scary moments. But, and this is a personal thing, I feel I get why the movie was short as it was, because they wanted to take advantage of the whole free aspect for teams, and they wanted to make it feel legit, and I completely understand that. But as a result, it sacrifices any semblance of character development or character arcs or anything like that. So we don't get to know any of these people. Now, yes, certain horror movies like Unfriended and things of similar nature, we do get to know people, and we wish we didn't. But in this one, it's like they've gone so far to create a somewhat realistic, intense horror movie set during pandemic and shot during pandemic. They've gone so far to that degree that unfortunately they've kind of gone the other extreme where we don't get to know any of these characters. So while it is tense and scary, we don't have a clue really what the dynamics are. I mean, there's hints and bits and pieces, but not too much. And I think that's part of the problem for me, is that I care on a instinctual level, and there's a horror movie level, and I respect craft, but I don't care about what happens to any of the characters because there's no reason to. And that's not fault of the actors, because I think the actors do a good job. I just think it's the nature of making a 56-minute horror movie with a cast full of people. And that's best exemplified by the fact that when Teddy finally shows up again, it's only for a matter of minutes and then gone. But we never got to know Teddy, so we've got no context for that at all. You know, you get bits and pieces, but nothing concrete, and that frustrates me. I think it's one thing where they did as good jobs they could with the restraints they put on themselves. Like, obviously, 56 minutes with a cast as big as this, you're going to struggle to really get much out of it. But there's some really cool ideas. Like, I think the idea of Caroline's, I think it's Caroline, her background for her teams actually being images of her moving about, like a pre-recorded video, that's really clever. And that's a cool idea. And that plays into a very effective sequence later on. I think stunts are great. I think generally looks like a good movie. It looks effective. It looks good. I think the problem is they've committed to a bit, but again, it's too short. It needed to be longer. I know they would probably say no, we want it to stick within these time frames, but they were wrong. They were wrong, because I cannot go above a free list because of that. Because I don't. The characters are just big balls of nothing. Despite some very good acting, they're just big balls of nothing, and it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like it needed more of that. I mean, I'm not some purist who says you can't make really short movies. I'm saying you can, but you're losing out on some real good character stuff when you do that. You know, and I think even getting to 80 minutes, just bullshit the teams thing. Just get to 80 minutes. Give us a bit more character stuff, you know? So a little bit more. Give these actors more to work with, because they do a good job, but they didn't. So what can you do? But I do think for what they made, like, it's very, very good. And that might seem slightly patronising, but it is. It's a good movie. Well, here's the thing. I think if you view it in terms of horror, it's very good, but it's just not, it just can't go above a certain level because there is no character stuff at all. And it's a movie which needs that, because, like, you need that dynamic between characters, and it feels like that's been chopped out and it's all plot. But I would prefer more of a character study. Like, give me a reason to care about these characters, and I'd probably give it a high mark. I probably might go up to 4 with that, but that's not a movie they made, so. But hey, congrats, you know. I'm still a little annoyed that this movie got all press, my movie didn't, but at least this was a good movie. That, if it was bad, that would really piss me off, but it's good, so it's like, well, you know, there you go. So yeah, there's my review of this movie. I hope they'll finally do It's a Wonderful Life tomorrow. I don't know though. Anyway, bye. So I probably should have looked at tagline this before I really started watching it, because, and deciding to pick it for a review, because well, I mean, actually, I'll be honest, I don't like It's a Wonderful Life. I really think it's ham-fisted, it's cheesy, it's melodramatic, the acting's off. Now, grant that's partly because of me, because I try and be an optimistic guy, but I'm quite cynical in general, and I think that movie just needed one more going over and a bit more cynicism put into the script. Unless, gee whiz, our shots, golly, mister. Nonsense. But I know it's classic, so what can you do? But this one, I mean, I don't know. For some reason I thought this was time travel, but it's not. It's like a parallel universe. But fundamentally, my issue with the movie is simple. I'll go and spoil it now, so don't want to be spoiled. I mean, you shouldn't be. It came out 2 years ago. But basically, my issue with this movie is It's a Wonderful Life. He saw what life be like if he was never born, and things had changed a bit and things were worse. But this one, it kind of falls down because she takes out the Justin Long, who's doing horror movies, and then she goes to a different universe, and that universe is bad, I guess, but her universe isn't great either. And in the end movie, her parents are still rich, and nothing's really changed in that regard. So it doesn't really necessarily work. But I don't think It's Wonderful Life really works either, so I think maybe I'm just the wrong audience for this movie. I do think it's a cute movie, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I think, like, the friendship between the two characters, God, I can't remember what her name is, I think Jane Widder plays her, whatever, and her friend Bernie. I think that's a cute dynamic, and it's sweet, and I like positive representation like that in these movies, because, you know, it's good. You know, the whole thing behind diversity and people going, oh, I don't want this. So, like, no, I want to watch and read about stuff that I don't necessarily live. I find it interesting. You know, it's learning. I like to learn. But that's basically that, and Justin Long really going over top, basically my 2 plus points of the movie. Other than that, I don't really have much to say, which is bad because I've got to get this shit 5 minutes. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. It's just, it's not. I think the thing I'd really say about it is, like, it's written by a guy who wrote Freaky, but with Freaky, I feel like it's a really good movie with a good premise. I also think it sets things up quicker. This movie falls into that trap that Thanksgiving fell into, of like, you basically have an entire movie before the movie actually starts, you know, and all of these characters and all these things happen, but it's sort of like, why can't we have had more of that, I guess, because we get these interesting character dynamics between people, and then it just cuts to a year later, and it's like, oh, so I don't know how you fix that. Maybe don't have that in the movie. Maybe just start with, like, her staring on her computer, and then you find out bits and pieces throughout the movie, and then get tension of what exactly she did that got to this point. But you probably need a rewrite the movie gets that. Yeah, it's inoffensive. It's decent. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it was specifically made with you need to make a movie which is exactly 87 minutes long and has these beats, because that's what the Shudder audience wants. Not that you should necessarily be giving a Shudder audience what they want, because we're all a bunch of fucking sickos, but that's the theory, you know? And I don't think it's bad at any stretch. I think it's decent. It's just, it's one of those movies where you go like, yeah, 3 out of 5. And you don't really have much enthusiasm past that point. Although Shudder's rating on their app is 4 out of 5, which is mad. But it's still, you know, it's fine. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I'm not going to rewatch it. Not going to become Christmas staple. Although I think, like I said, the dynamic between 2 female leads is very sweet. But yeah, I don't get much out of it otherwise. But it's okay. But I think part of that is also I just saw A Long Walk, which was exceptional. And it's one of those movies which is so good that I was going to go see Conjuring Part 2 at cinema. And I decided not to. So I was like, how could it possibly match up to this? And to The Long Walk. And maybe I shouldn't have seen this, because there's no fucking way in history this could have matched up to The Long Walk either. But you know, what can you do? So yeah, if you're looking for something offensive, it's on Shudder. But like, if you want something good by the same writer and team, Freaky is much, much, much better. But hey, who knows?
Maybe this will get a cult following.
So for context, I have never watched a movie in this series. I can't even say the title of it properly, so I'm just going to call it Heck House. When growing up, I had like a stutter and stammer, and I tripped those certain letters, so now I work around it. So this is Heck House Origins of Carmichael Manor. I mean, okay, so here's my thing for this movie. I don't think it's a bad movie in any stretch. I actually think it's pretty good. The problem comes from, I have no earthly idea what the fuck is going on. And the only reason I chose this movie is because I thought the whole point of Origins was that it would provide you as be like a prequel. But it's not a prequel at all. It's kind of like, it's a sequel, to the original ones, I guess, maybe, but I don't have any fucking idea what's going on. Not the slightest. Now, that said, I like this movie. And I think the reason why I like it is because I like the fact that it's different. It's definitely different. It's more of a, I mean, I won't say it's like a straight horror movie per se. I mean, it is actually. It's not really very comedic. But I would say the whole vibe is more intense than something like Paranormal Activity. It works in less of a sort of slow. I mean, it is slow burn, but it's more atmospheric and grimy and intense. And the way they do the reveals and not making big thing out of them is quite cool, because I know Insidious tried doing the same thing, but had that little jaunty music effect, and this one's not really like that. It just feels off, and that is my favourite kind of horror in that something like Late Night with Devil, where something feels wrong about the movie, and this one definitely, it feels like there is something wrong for this. And also, it's a unique horror franchise. I've never seen a horror movie like this before. It feels really, really, really creepy. genuinely creepy, but in a way that's different. I mean, it's like, for example, like the lack of colour. In some movies, that'd be a flaw of the property. In this one, it actually works because it feels like you're infringing on something, I guess. Now, what doesn't work? I don't know who any of these fucking people are, these characters. I get nothing from them. Now, maybe it's connected to earlier characters. I don't know. I think wraparound section is very, very, very fucking confusing. And doesn't really go anywhere. But I get that it's kind of like looking back on things. I get that. Again, I don't know what's going on. At any point in the movie, how's the acting? It's decent. It's fine. I mean, no one really gets that much to do, but they're very convincing in terms of scares and things like that. How about House? It's fucking creepy. It's really fucking creepy, and that's cool. It's creepy in a way that Paranormal Activity never managed, because Paranormal Activity is it's the equivalent of like you wake up at 2 in the morning, you hear noise, and there's nothing there. Whereas this movie and this house, you go around every corner and there's some weird ass shit there. And the whole vibe place looks off. It really, really does. Now for the problem. It took me 2 days to watch this, and that's not because it was bad. It was more like I didn't feel like I needed to finish it in one watching. And yeah, some of the Shudder stuff I've watched has been over 2 watches. That's because I've had other things I wanted to do, and I sort of paused halfway through and picked up later. This one, I literally had 10 minutes left, and I was like, I just don't. I'm going to watch it, but I don't have the enthusiasm to watch it right now. And I don't think that's testament to the movie's quality particularly. But I also think, having not seen the other movies, I'm coming into this differently than most people would, because this property, I'm sure, has a lot of fans. I mean, Shudder keeps making these movies, which is nice. I like, different horror franchises. It's just, so my central issue with it is, I don't know, the Carmichael Manor is like, that means nothing to me. And again, I did enjoy it. I think it's a perfectly serviceable horror movie with some genuinely terrifying moments and some really grimy moments. But I don't think it's great at all. I will at some point, I'll try and go through the entire series. I'll do like a video on that, I guess, at some point. But for now, yeah, no, I'm glad something like this exists, because I love the idea of new horror movies. I don't think you should be stuck on the same ones forever and on that ever ongoing loop. But I do feel like maybe it could be better and more welcoming someone like me. I mean, if you call your movie Origins, I think it should be trying to appeal to people who don't know about the other ones. Or maybe it's just fuck all doing content for them. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I do know it's a serviceable little movie, and that's encouraging. So, okay, I guess that's it for this week. I'll be back next week with a week full of my favourite horror movies that Shudder has produced, the VHS series, the continuation. And I can't wait, because I also get to recap those, and then I get to add those recaps to my pre-existing VHS ones and do a super video, because that one did really worth being passed. Anyway, bye.